Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at AI,
Oh, yeah.
uh, specifically how it's being used to identify different types of rice.
Sounds delicious.
We found this really interesting research article
Okay.
from the International Journal of Intelligent Systems,
Nice.
and it's got some pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Really?
It's kind of like how some people can tell the difference between like
Uh-huh.
a Cabernet and a Merlot just by smell.
Yeah.
Well, imagine being able to do that with rice,
What, just by...
just by looking at it.
Oh, wow.
You could instantly tell if it's
Okay.
Basmati arborio or something else.
So that's what the study is talking about, and it's actually really important.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll admit, I don't really think that much about the different types of rice. I mean, isn't it all just rice?
Well, yeah, for most of us it might seem that way,
Yeah.
but rice is a staple food for billions of people around the world.
Okay.
And there are actually tons of different varieties out there.
Yeah.
You can think about it like apples. You know, you've got your Granny Smiths, your Galas, your Fujis,
Okay.
each with its own, like, taste and texture.
Right.
And it's the same with rice. Huh. Just like with apples, the type of rice really matters for the price, the nutritional value, and even how it cooks.
So being able to tell these different types apart could be a big deal then.
It is a really big deal.
So how does AI even come into this?
Well, traditionally, experts would identify rice varieties by sight, just by looking at it, feeling the grains, and sometimes even tasting them.
Oh, wow.
But that can be a really slow process.
Yeah.
And it can be subjective.
Okay.
And when you're dealing with millions of tons of rice,
Yeah.
you can't rely on just a few experts.
That makes sense.
So that's where AI comes in.
So you're saying that we're training computers to do the job of these experts.
Exactly.
But how does that even work?
So researchers are using something called convolutional neural networks.
CNNs?
Yeah, or CNNs for short. So imagine you're teaching a kid to identify different dog breeds.
Okay.
You'd show them pictures of golden retrievers, poodles, German shepherds, and you'd point out all those features like their size, their fur, their ears. Over time, the kid would learn to tell them apart.
Yeah.
That's sort of what's happening with these CNNs.
Oh, so we're feeding them a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, we're giving them a bunch of pictures of different rice varieties.
Okay.
And they're learning to recognize these subtle variations in the shape, the color, and the texture.
So you're saying that these CNNs can look at a picture and say, oh, that's basmati rice, or that's arborio.
Exactly. They're getting really good at it.
Wow.
And in this study, they actually tested 3 different CNN models,
Okay.
almost like a little competition.
Oh, tell me more about these AI contestants.
Okay, so the first one is called AlexNet.
Okay.
It's kind of like the veteran, one of the first CNNs to really make a name for itself.
Okay.
Then you've got ResNet 50.
ResNet.
Yeah, and that's a much deeper network, meaning it has more layers and can learn more complex patterns.
Interesting.
And then lastly, we have EfficientNet B1.
EfficientNet B1.
Yeah, and that was designed to be really efficient, so it can achieve really high accuracy with fewer resources.
Also, it's like a battle of the brains here. Each model has its own strength.
Exactly.
Oh.
And to make it a fair fight, they trained all 3 models on the same massive data set of pictures of Turkish rice.
Wow.
That's 75,000 photos covering 5 popular varieties.
So who came out on top?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Don't leave me hanging.
Okay, so all 3 models did really well.
Uh-huh.
AlexNet, our veteran,
Yeah.
managed to get a 96% accuracy rate.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Uh-huh.
But it did have a little bit of trouble distinguishing between a couple of varieties,
Oh, really?
specifically Ipsala and Arborio.
Okay.
Those 2 can be pretty similar looking even to a trained eye.
Yeah, I guess if the computer's just learning from pictures,
Yeah,
it might have a tough time.
it makes sense.
So what about ResNet 50, the one with all the extra layers? Did it do any better?
ResNet 50 stepped up its game for sure.
Okay.
Hit an accuracy of 99%.
Wow.
Seems like all those extra layers really helped it pick up on those little details.
Yeah, 99%. That's incredible.
It is pretty amazing,
But wait, you said there was a third one. EfficientNet B1.
right?
The efficient one.
Uh-huh.
Did it manage to beat ResNet 50?
This is where it gets really cool.
Okay.
EfficientNet B1 achieved an accuracy of 99.87%.
What? Yeah.
Pretty much aced the test.
Wow, so it's more accurate and more efficient.
Yeah,
I thought usually you had to sacrifice one for the other.
you would think so, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes EfficientNet B1 so impressive.
So how...
It's not just about adding more layers, you know.
Uh-huh.
It's about how you design the network.
Oh, okay.
Think of it like this.
Yeah.
Instead of building this huge, sprawling factory to make a product,
Yeah.
you could design a smaller, more streamlined factory that uses less energy and materials, but still produces that same high-quality output.
So it's like getting the same results,
Yeah,
but with less.
exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
So what are the implications of that?
Well, it means that you could run these AI models on devices with less power, like smartphones,
Oh, wow.
or even sensors out in the fields.
Okay.
This opens up a whole world of possibilities for using AI in agriculture, even in places that don't have access to, like, supercomputers.
I see. So we could have farmers in really remote areas
Yeah,
using their phone
exactly.
to identify crop diseases, optimize irrigation, or even predict yields.
That's the idea.
Wow, that's a game changer.
It has the potential to be.
Yeah, because not everyone has access to those
Right.
big, powerful computers.
Exactly.
This is pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
But what about those experts that we talked about?
Uh-huh.
The ones who used to do this by hand?
Yeah,
What happens to their jobs if AI takes over?
that's a really good question. And AI is definitely going to change the way we work. Yeah.
Agriculture is no exception.
Uh-huh.
But I see this as more of an opportunity for collaboration
Oh,
rather than replacement.
interesting.
So AI can handle those repetitive, large-scale tasks,
Okay.
which frees up the human experts
Right.
to focus on those more complex issues.
So instead of humans versus machines, it's
Yes.
more like humans and machines working together
Exactly.
to improve things.
To create a better future for everyone.
I like that.
Yeah.
That brings up a good point, though.
What's that?
How do we make sure that this technology
Uh-huh.
actually benefits everyone?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, and not just a select few.
It's all well and good to talk about how great our AI is,
Yeah.
but we need to be responsible.
We need to make sure it's used ethically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to talk about how AI is going to impact our society,
Yeah.
and we need to make sure that it's used to create a more just and sustainable world.
Well, this deep dive has given me a lot to think about.
Me too. We went from different types of rice to the future of agriculture,
It's all connected.
to AI. It's crazy. And to think it all started with this one research article.
It is pretty amazing.
You mentioned earlier that they were looking at Turkish rice varieties.
Right.
What if we took this to a global scale?
Oh, wow.
Could AI be used to identify every single type of rice in the world?
That would be a huge project,
It would be.
but it'd be so valuable.
Yeah.
Imagine a database of all the rice varieties on Earth
Yeah.
with all their unique characteristics and genetic information.
That would be an amazing resource for researchers, for farmers, for everyone.
It would.
It could even help us conserve those rare varieties
Right.
and develop new ones.
With improved traits, exactly.
So where do we go from here? What are the next steps in this journey?
Well, we need to expand the scope of the research.
Okay.
We need to train these models on all sorts of different rice from different regions and climates.
To make sure that they can handle all the different varieties.
Yeah, rice is incredibly diverse.
And we also need to figure out how to actually use this technology in the real world.
In a way that benefits everyone, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we need tools that farmers can use,
Yeah.
even if they don't know anything about computers.
Easy to use tools, absolutely.
And we need to make sure it's affordable
Right.
for everyone, even in developing countries.
It's all about democratizing AI.
This is really making me rethink AI.
In what way?
It's not just self-driving cars or playing games.
Right.
It can solve real problems and
Yeah.
create a more sustainable and equitable future.
That's the goal.
And it all starts by asking the right questions.
Like, can AI tell basmati from arborio?
Exactly. Who knew that something so simple could lead to such a fascinating conversation?
That's the beauty of curiosity. It takes us to some really unexpected places.
Speaking of unexpected places,
Yeah.
you mentioned confusion matrices earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to admit, they sound a little confusing,
The name is a little intimidating.
but I feel like they're
Oh,
important.
they're really important.
Okay, so what are they?
Okay, so confusion matrices are basically like visual representations
Right?
of where the AI got things right
Uh-huh.
and where it maybe stumbled a little.
So it's like a report card for each model,
Exactly, a report card for the AI.
showing us what they mixed up.
Yeah, which varieties they had trouble with.
So it's a way to see where the AI needs some extra help.
Exactly, and that's how scientists figure out how to make these models even better.
So what did these confusion matrices tell us about our AI contestants?
Well, like we said earlier, AlexNet had the most trouble with Ipsala and Arborio.
Right, those were the ones that look similar.
Yeah, and it seems like AlexNet's simpler architecture just couldn't quite get it.
What about ResNet 50 with all those layers?
Well, Resin 50 did much better,
Okay.
but even it had a few hiccups, mostly mixing up Arborio with Basmati. So even with this advanced technology,
Yeah.
there's always room for improvement.
What about EfficientNet B1, our champion?
EfficientNet B1 had a near-perfect record, proving that simpler can sometimes be better.
Less is more.
Exactly.
This is all really fascinating stuff.
It is.
But I'm wondering, what does this mean for the average person?
Oh, that's a great question.
Why should they care about AI and rice?
This is about more than just rice.
Okay.
This is about creating a smarter, more sustainable food system.
Okay, give me some examples.
Okay, so imagine a world where AI helps farmers spot those pests and diseases super early on.
Before they can spread.
Exactly, before they cause any serious damage.
That would save so much time and money
It would.
and reduce the need for pesticides,
Exactly.
which is good for everyone.
Good for the environment. Good for us.
So AI could also be used to make sure that the crops are getting just the right amount of water
Yeah. Optimize irrigation and fertilization.
without any waste.
Exactly, using our resources more efficiently.
That's huge for the environment.
It is. We need to be more mindful of how we use our resources.
And it could also be used to predict how much food we're going to grow.
Yeah, predicting crop yields with incredible accuracy.
So we're talking about a future where AI helps us grow more food with less waste and fewer resources.
That's the idea.
That sounds pretty amazing.
It does have a lot of potential.
But we also need to remember that technology is a tool,
Uh,
and it can be used for good or for bad.
it can be. It's up to us to use it wisely.
So we need to talk about the impact of AI
Yeah, we need to have those open and honest conversations.
and make sure that everyone benefits.
Everyone, not just a select few.
This deep dive has really got me thinking about the future.
Yeah, me too.
It's given me hope that we can use this technology
Huh.
to make things better for everyone.
That's what we're hoping for.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listener with one final thought.
I'm all ears.
If AI can help us understand something as simple as rice, what other mysteries could it unlock?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What else can we learn from AI?
The possibilities are truly mind-boggling.
It feels like we've come a long way from talking about those tiny little grains of rice.
It's amazing how something so simple can lead to these huge ideas.
And that's what makes these deep dives so much fun.
I agree.
You start with something familiar like a bowl of rice,
Yeah,
and you end up talking about the future of our planet.
it's all connected.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
you mentioned democratizing AI earlier. What does that actually look like?
Well, it means making sure that everyone has access to these AI tools and resources.
Not just big companies and research, though.
Exactly. Everyone should have the chance to benefit.
So we're talking about small farmers, local communities,
Right.
even individuals
Everyone.
having the power to solve their own problems using AI.
Exactly. Empowering people with technology.
I can see that would be huge, especially in places that don't have a lot of resources.
It could be transformative.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine farmers in remote areas
Yeah.
using AI to improve their crops and connect with global markets.
That's a powerful idea,
It is.
creating a more equitable and sustainable food system.
That's the goal.
And it's not just about food, is it?
It's not, we can apply this to so many different areas.
Like healthcare education.
Environmental conservation. The possibilities are endless.
This is really giving me hope for the future.
Me too.
We can use this technology to build a better world.
We can.
But it's important to remember that technology is a tool.
It is.
We have to use it wisely.
We do. We need to be mindful of the risks.
And make sure that AI is developed ethically.
We need to have those conversations about the impact on society.
And make sure that it benefits everyone.
Absolutely.
So what can our listeners do
What can they do to be a part of this?
to help shape the future of AI?
Well, first of all, stay informed,
Okay.
learn about AI, get involved in discussions.
There's tons of resources out there.
There are.
Books, articles, websites, organizations.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, challenge the assumptions.
Demand transparency.
It's up to all of us to make sure that AI is used for good.
We all have a role to play.
Even small actions can make a difference.
They can't. Every voice matters.
This has been an amazing journey.
It has.
So many fascinating insights.
And a renewed sense of hope for the future.
It's been a pleasure having you here.
It's been a pleasure being here.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and rice,
We hope you learned something new today.
and that you're inspired to keep exploring.
The future is ours to create.
So go out there, ask questions, and help us build a world where technology serves humanity and the planet.
Keep learning. Keep questioning.
Hail next time, keep those rice cookers steaming.